Samuel Lowry stepped into history during one of the most volatile moments in Alabama's Reconstruction era. From 1870 to 1874, he served as sheriff of Lawrence County, a position that placed him directly at the crossroads of hope, hostility, and a nation struggling to redefine itself after the Civil War. Lowry understood exactly what his election meant. In the early 1870s, Black political power in Alabama was rising, and Lawrence County was one of the places where freedmen were determined to claim their rights. Lowry believed that justice had to be visible, firm, and fair, and he believed that Black citizens deserved protection under the law just as much as anyone else. But his election did not sit well with those who wanted to restore white supremacy. As Reconstruction began to weaken across the South, violent groups intensified their efforts to remove Black officials from power. By 1874, Alabama was engulfed in a wave of political terror. Paramilitary groups, calling themselves Redeemers, launched coordinated attacks designed to overthrow Reconstruction by force. Sheriff Lowry became one of their primary targets. When he attempted to carry out his duties, collecting taxes, enforcing warrants, protecting Black voters, he was confronted, threatened, and challenged at every turn. White mobs refused to recognize his authority. Local officials who once cooperated with Reconstruction began to withdraw support. And the federal protection that had once backed Black office holders was fading fast. But Lowry did not back down. He continued to enforce the law, even when doing so put his life at risk. He continued to defend Black citizens, even when the county around him was slipping back into the hands of men who openly rejected the idea of Black equality. And he continued to stand as a symbol of what Reconstruction promised: a South where justice did not depend on the color of your skin. By 1874, the political system that had once supported him was collapsing. Alabama's Redeemer movement gained momentum, and federal troops were being pulled back. Reconstruction was ending, and with it, the fragile window of opportunity for Black leadership in the Deep South. Lowry was eventually forced from office, not because he failed, but because the nation failed him. The same forces that toppled Reconstruction across the South swept through Lawrence County, replacing Black officials with men committed to restoring the old order. Yet, even after losing his position, Samuel Lowry never abandoned his commitment to justice. He continued to advocate for his community. He continued to speak out, and he continued to represent the strength and resilience of Black leadership during one of the most turbulent eras in American history. Samuel Lowry's story is not just about a sheriff. It's about a man who refused to surrender his dignity, even when surrounded by violence. A man who believed in the law, even when the law refused to protect him. A man who stood tall in a moment when standing tall could cost you everything. His legacy reminds us that Reconstruction was not simply a political experiment. It was a battle for the soul of the nation. And men like Samuel Lowry were on the front lines, risking their lives to build a future they knew they might never fully experience. Today, we honor him not just as a sheriff, but as a symbol of courage, leadership, and unshakable resolve. His story deserves to be remembered, studied, and passed on. Because the fight he stood for, the fight for justice, equality, and protection under the law, is a fight that continues. This is Black Justice Untold, bringing light to the lawmen who stood for freedom when the world stood against them. And as always, we honor the past, we uplift the truth, and we reclaim the stories that were never meant to be forgotten. Like, comment, and subscribe to help keep our stories alive.